Let's take a look at this situation in Ikorodu area of Lagos State, Nigeria. Succor has come the way of some of these residents in Ikorodu area of Lagos as stimulus packages from the state government got to the area. Channels Television reported on how residents said they were starving as a result of the lockdown order aimed at curtailing the spread of COVID-19. But today you can see them happy, joy in their faces as the Lagos government has reached out to them with some of the stimulus package. The Commissioner of Information, Mr. Gbenga Motosho, will lead the team, said the state government has already surpassed its target of providing palliatives for 250,000 homes in the state. Well, the presidency has come hard on an APC senator from Borno State, Senator Ali Ndume, over some comments credited to him that the COVID-19 Palliative Measures Committee is not functioning and is being mismanaged. In fact, he's asked that the committee should be disbanded by the president. He said he referred to some of those handling it as kleptocrats. The presidency said it is therefore disappointing to hear a politician call out unnamed individuals in the administration and accuse them of unnamed transgressions. If this politician has evidence, then he should make public their identities as well as his proof. Innuendo is not proof. End of quote. By the way, in the Federal Capital Territory, a total of 600,000 households are being expected or targeted to receive relief items from the FCT authorities. The Minister of State for the Federal Capital Territory, Mrs. Ramatu Aliyu, has flagged off the distribution of the palliatives, of which she says will capture all vulnerable persons residing in the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja. She gave the assurance that measures to ensure that the food items get to the targeted persons have been put in place. So that gets our attention tonight. The allegations coming from the Borno State Senator and APC leader, Senator Ali Ndume, is asking that measure, the palliative measure, has not been properly handled. He also said that he thought that the president was going to disband them the last time the president gave a nationwide address. So let's get talking on this one. I'm being joined on the program tonight by Mr. Emeka Enechi. It is the National Coordinator of the Save the Poor Coalition, and Mr. Austin Oka is a public affairs analyst. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for coming on tonight. Let me begin with you, Mr. Enechi. The senator said, he said so many things. Part of it is the fact that he said that there's been outcry on how the palliatives has been handled and administered, and he's asking that the president should disband them. Do you think so?
Thank you for having us. Let me start by saying that we are living in very interesting times, and this is the first time in this generation that would have a pandemic of this nature that has now made it possible for the poor to be remembered. I want to first of all thank every Nigerian that it has taken 60 years of Nigeria's independence for the poor to ever be mentioned in the national scale. It's taking an unseen enemy for every person in this country to remember that there are poor people. Well, we can, with all due respect to the distinguished senator, our position from what we have found out is that he's just been sensational. We have engaged the Ministry of Human Affairs and Disaster Management, and we can see the trajectory where they are going. They are executing the mandate of Mr. President. And they have not pretended to say that the database they have is the best, or that they have covered the whole country. But they've been able to cover at least 400 local governments in the country, in 22 states, and 2.25 households, covering 9.4 million people. And like all of us know now, Mr. President has then said that they should increase that number by another million. And once you do that, there is no home in Nigeria where you don't have more than a human being living there. So if you notch up the register again by another 1 million people, what you're saying is that we're feeding an extra 3 million, an extra 3 human beings in each household. So nudging up the number of people who are going to get these cash transfers and palliatives to 11 million. And like the Honorable Minister said a few days ago on the platform, it's a continuous exercise where a state meet their own criteria, and in the data capture, human beings have to go out to capture the data, collect names of the people, and ensure that truly those who are targeted here are the real people who should receive this palliative. I mean, you see us everywhere. We're the ones that wipe your windshields, we sell granules and bananas in the night. We're also the ones hanging out on the street in the night as young women. You know, so but
bring Mr. Okai.
Luckily for us.
So, Mr. Okai, Mr. Enechi, let's bring
Luckily
Mr.
for us, I
Okai
would
to
say-
the conversation now. What Senator Ali Ndume is saying perhaps doesn't look like it's new, because the leadership of the National Assembly has raised that concern that the coverage of that program does not cover the poorest of the poor. Mr. Okai, but is it fair to say that there are kleptocrats in the composition or those who are administering these measures?
The senator is 100% correct. He says nothing but the truth. The Ministry of Disaster Management, or the minister herself, has turned to a disaster. We have seen the mode of operation, and it is obvious the real meaning of palliative is yet to be given, or it's yet to be implemented in Nigeria. You see the list they are going around? That was the list belonged to the office of the Vice President, Professor Yemi Osibajo Traders Money. And you can see the target audience are not being captured. Okay, why is it that all the women, the people that the cash transfer, they are doing going to only the women, the old women? Are there not vulnerable old men in the society? Are there not vulnerable young men in the society? What happened to people that their survival depends on the daily living? These are the questions Nigerians are asking. We have the roadside mechanics. We have the roadside artists. We have the Okada riders. We have the taxi driver. We have the duffel drivers. How do you address? Are they not Nigerians? Are some of them not living a vulnerable life? What happened to the unemployed one who depends on their brothers, the younger one that are taxi driver or others? So palliative measure, or the palliative, as earlier said, there has to be a real issue that will address, that will cushion the effect of the lockdown of the nation as a result of COVID-19. It's not about being politicized, but I think I 100% agree with Senator Ali Ndume, and I thank him for going beyond the political line by addressing the real issue happening. And Ali is not the only person. The Speaker of the House of Rep is on the same point. Even the Senate President, Ahmed Lawal, also said the same thing. And thousands of Nigerians, millions of Nigerians on the street are calling for this. So the removal of the minister and disbandment of that, the palliative committee is timely.
All right.
And Nigerians has to
Mr. Okai,
Nigerians
sorry,
has to
apologies,
talk.
because we need to take our break on the program. But I'd like to say that please kindly let's use moderate language, especially on persons who are carrying out national duties, not disparaging people kindly when we are taking up our argument. But we'll take a break. And when we come back, we'll continue on the conversation, what Senator Ali Ndume said, the response of the presidency, and the issues of the palliatives to the vulnerables in our society. Join us again, everyone.
Many shops and offices have been under lock and key, leaving many citizens.
Thank you so much, everyone, for staying with us. Let's get back to the conversation on the issues of palliatives. The statement made by Senator Ali Ndume asking that the committee in charge of palliatives should be disbanded, as he feels that there's no fairness in the distribution of that committee. Let's get back to my panel from our Abuja studio now. Mr. Emeka Enechi is the National Coordinator of Save the Poor Coalition, and Mr. Austin Okai is the Public Affairs Analyst. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for coming on tonight. Let me come back to you, Mr. Enechi. If you note some of the things that Senator Ali Ndume said at that press conference when he's saying that there is no fairness in the membership of the committee that was set up for that palliative purpose. He said, for example, in Zamfara, where the minister comes from, the senator is saying that there are 291,629 households targeted with 1.3 million individuals targeted or on the register. And he said in Sokoto and Borno State, for example, in Sokoto State is 3,349 households, 18,000 individuals. In Borno State, 7,130 households, 33,000 individuals. He's saying that there is disparity. Some of these issues that he raised at the press conference. Do you think that there is fairness in some of the distribution in the register, on the social register of the federal government?
Let me start by saying that it's very disingenuous for anybody to say that that we should disband this committee. And coming from a distinguished senator, a very senior person in Nigeria, he would understand that there are processes in data gathering. Every state government in the country is supposed to have brought 6 persons that will do the legwork to go and pick up data for them and submit to the ministry. If it turns out that the Zamfara State, where the Honorable Minister comes from, decided to leverage on the fact that the minister comes from their place and made available these people to go and do the legwork, and they collected 200,000 or 20,000 or whatever, and Enugu State, where I come from, and the governor does not bring the people to go and do the legwork, and then come for the training on how to collect data, you cannot turn around and say that the Honorable Minister favored her people, therefore she's being unfair. So, and then for us to also sit down here and blame the minister or the committee for not attending to roadside mechanics, those of us who sell granules and pepper on the road, these are unusual times. This is a time of emergency. Nobody ever.
So, Enechi, the fears of, apologies if I'm butting, the fears of some people that. So, for example, the leadership of the National Assembly saying that the register does not cover the poorest of the poor. Is that also is that concern also addressed?
The concern is being addressed. The minister admitted that there were challenges with the register, and the register is being updated. I am aware from our engagement with the ministry that they had commissioned professionals to go ahead and update the register. Now, the process of getting into becoming a beneficiary, you first register as somebody seeking to benefit, and when they clear you, they put you in the beneficiary register. There's a social register, which has more than the names that we're talking about now. It is from that social register we're going to get the extra 1 million people that the president said should go into the beneficiaries. And so the process of updating this is ongoing, and the minister had made a firm promise in a higher interview on the platform that by next week these figures will increase. And I will call upon the states now to make available everything that the ministry needs to be able to get all the vulnerable people in their area, in their representative states to be on this register. So we cannot sit down here and say dismiss the committee simply because the states even fail to put their own thing. And it's not just in this COVID palliative. In every other thing where the state has a counterpart role to play, but more often than not, they would even look at even the
Mr. Enechi, sorry, let's bring back Mr. Okai into the conversation. Mr. Okai, the presidency has replied Senator Ali Ndume, and is saying that it is disappointing to hear a politician call out unnamed individuals in the administration and accuse them of unnamed transgressions. Says no one replaces an institutional government body in the midst of a global pandemic without clear and irrefutable evidence that it needs replacing.
Exactly.
The senator is not just an ordinary Nigerian. He represents a constituent. He is a lawmaker. And it's time we should listen to those who in place of authority. Senator Dume is also part of this government. And he's been specific. He mentioned the minister there. And he said the state government should be allowed to have an input over this. For instance, now, okay, look at it. The whole thing is being politicized. And you say that how can a senator of the Federal Republic of Nigeria come out to call or name people? He's been specific. What senators said is part and parcel of feedback mechanism that is part of democratic system. He must have got his own feedback from the people he's representing. Okay, are you telling me now that Katsina and Zamfara have the highest numbers of the vulnerable Nigerians than the places like Enugu or the place like Kogi State where I come from, or even the FCT here? Of course, no. So the target audience are not being captured. And it's left for the ministry or the Minister of Disaster Management or the
Mr. Okai, would you say, because one of the things that Senator Ali Ndume is saying that the system as it presently operates, he's saying that if it goes on, it's going to be a fraud. Would you say that people are stealing money or there is a corrupt system going on in the palliatives distribution or administration?
Of course, if you go back down to the grassroots, what you see is the picture in the ministry. And when you put a call across, you hear that they came, they have a picture with them, they display money, and they went back. We are talking of feedback mechanism. Therefore, there's a corruption in the entire practices. And this is not time to name out or to go after Senator Dume. It is about time we sit down and listen to the voice from what he said, and let us learn, and let us adopt a corrective measure. Because so far, so good, the target audience are being omitted.
We are obviously out of time, gentlemen. Yeah, but we need to go. But I must sincerely thank you both for coming on tonight. Mr. Emeka Enenche is the National Coordinator of the Save the Poor Coalition. Thank you so much for coming in tonight on the program. And Mr. Austin Okai, a Public Affairs Analyst. Thank you for your thoughts tonight, gentlemen. That's our show for tonight, everyone. Many thanks for watching. I'm Sean Wakimale. Bye for now.